recent history shows January is just for us to get, nice and excited, all these rumors, and then nothing really ends up happening. What is happening, people? Welcome to Gooner Down Under TV. We are slowly but surely getting through this international break. Feels like it's dragging on so long, but Premier League football is nearly back. If it's your first time on the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button, stay along for the journey, and get all of that new content coming your way. If you're a returning sub or returning viewer, much love as always. Go on ahead, smash that like button, and do all of that good stuff. Now, today, yes, it's the international break, but thought it'd be a real good time to sort of just analyze where Arsenal are at, look forward and see, can Arsenal go all the way? It's looking like a sort of three-way title race this season. Fair play to Tottenham, they have done well so far, but Maddison, he's going to be out for a while, Van der Ven's going to be out for a while, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to keep up. Which, we all sort of thought was the case. They weren't, the deepest team, a few couple injuries, and we could see they were going to have to rely on the players that, had let them down so many times. Which then sort of just leaves these two other competitors. A lot of people sort of slagging off Liverpool maybe before the season, but their attack, they get goals. They get goals. They got Salah, Jota, Diaz, Nunez. They are stacked, and damn well they're going to get at least a few goals every game. So it's just about the rest of their team. Their defense is starting to look a lot better. They're getting some clean sheets. I think they're tied with us as the best defense in the league now. And they're just one midfield solving away from being real serious threats again. I'm not saying not serious now, but I'm talking like 2-3 years, maybe going on to win it back to back or something like that. I feel like they are that close. And then Man City's Man City, you know what they are. They pretty much win every year, and someone needs to finally do something about it. Could it be us? Could it be us? I think we're in a real good spot at the moment. We're only 1 point behind, and it's going to be a real tight season. You've already seen some big upsets. Liverpool drawing to Luton, Man City losing to Wolves. I expect a lot more of those this season. Because, every team's got their own issues they're sort of worrying about. City's dealing with De Bruyne's injury. Liverpool's dealing with their midfield. We're dealing with our injuries. And the Premier League has caught up. So, it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be this steamroll like it's been in previous years. I think it's going to be neck and neck till the latter stages of the season. Now, I'm going to talk about sort of January and stuff later. But I'm just thinking now, what can we do to keep up with those two other teams until we can maybe start getting some reinforcements and really kick on? For me, I think the biggest thing we at least need to try is this midfield. And I know maybe it's sort of been overstated because Zinchenko sort of had one good game against Burnley. I feel like there are reasons for that. He didn't have a pre-season. It takes long to get your legs back under you from a normal off-season. Better yet when you've been injured for so long and then have to catch up to everyone else. We know Zinchenko's class. We saw it last year. I don't have any doubts that he's going to regain his form. But what I do have doubts about is the midfield. I've been defending Kai Havertz, and I think I do see some good things. His defensive work is definitely better than what I expected. And, who knows, maybe he ends up at left back for us too. But he hasn't been able to do what we need on the attacking end, and we all know it. Not really creating chances, not scoring goals, and we just see the whole team lacking. Not putting that all on him, because I feel like throughout the season, a lot of our attackers haven't been performing. Could it be a system change? Yes, but I do think there are still people that need to be held accountable, players that need to be held accountable. Like Martin Odegaard. When he's on the ball, not really combining with other players like he was last season, not being as, dynamic, getting into good opportunities. And I think Zinchenko will be able to help that a lot. I think Zinchenko will be able to be that deeper lying playmaker and get Odegaard the ball in much better positions. He won't have to sort of do a lot of that build-up play himself. I think Zinchenko is good enough on the ball, technically brilliant, and he can break lines, give it to Odegaard where he maybe only needs to do one or two quick things, and that leads to a chance. Rather than him trying to constantly interplay triangles and have to do everything on his own at times, I think having these two technicians in that midfield could honestly really help our chance creation. And then we got this man in the middle who's just going to clean everything up. It sounds good. It even allows Tomiyasu to play at left back, who can sort of be athletic, run that pitch like we sort of saw a few times this season. Zinchenko can always cover, and it gives us different opportunities. Let's talk about the issues of this. Zinchenko and Tomiyasu play in every game. They're just going to get injured. They're both quite injury prone. The likelihood of them both playing for consistent stretches and staying healthy, not very good. Not very good. The next one. For me, this guy needs to play every single game. We all know Partey's injury problem. We're going to talk about that next. But for me, if you take him out and put Jorginho, I feel like this midfield will get overrun, especially against a lot of those bigger teams. You either need Declan Rice to be in the 8 with Jorginho in the 6, or you need Declan Rice in the 6. I can't see Jorginho playing with two more attacking, less defensive-minded players in front of him. Yes, Zinchenko does do a bit of defensive work. I feel like he's underrated, but you still need a little bit more steel in that midfield. And I think that's what the big issue is going to be. If we get an injury to, Declan Rice, similar to Saka, we have no cover at all. And this is something we're going to have to be talking about because unfortunately, we've only been able to rely on these two guys so much. Every season it feels like the exact same narrative. Partey's out for months. Jesus is out for months. Yes, Jesus is coming back, but I feel like he's always trying to catch up to his fitness or to his match sharpness before getting another injury. So we don't get to see the best of these guys for very long stretches. Partey last season, to be fair, yes, it was magnificent till he got injured at the end, which is sort of the reoccurring issue. On their day, I think especially Thomas Partey is world class. His ability to control a game from CDM, I don't see anyone else do it in the world, to be honest. I used to see flashes of it maybe in Casemiro. Could put Rodri in there, but after that, there's no one like him for me. He just glides through the pitch. He just wins everything. Passes like no other as well. But just when do we get to use him? When do we get to actually enjoy him, especially in a title run at the end of the season? Can we rely on him? I don't think so. And the same sort of goes with Jesus. How often have we said Jesus is out, we need to rely on Eddie or Trossard? Just happens too frequently. I'm not saying to sell him because I do think at some points throughout the season, especially if they're depth, they can come in and of course make a huge impact. And maybe, if their minutes are managed a bit more, they can ride out a season a little bit longer. And, especially in the title run, there are going to be points where you just need a little bit of magic, someone to come in and be the hero. And both of these guys can absolutely do that. But as your main guy, you need to rely on week in, week out. I think I'm done relying on these guys, especially Jesus. I've got a soft spot in him, a soft spot in my heart for him. I'm Brazilian, but he's let me down so many times for Brazil. He's always injured for Arsenal. We need to just go out and get upgrades. Now, in January, is that likely? No. Are we even probably gonna get anyone valuable? Probably not. Recent history shows January is just for us to get, nice and excited, all these rumors, and then nothing really ends up happening. There are some sprinkles of Tony, it seems like it's more and more likely, but that's what we also thought about Mudryk last year. Now, I'm not saying we didn't dodge a bullet with Mudryk, but at some point we need to take a chance in January and go for that run. Because it's all good saying, next season we'll reinforce, but always when the next season comes, we always need to add that more in January, which we never do. If we get Tony, Martinelli, Tony, Saka, I'm set with that front three. We got a bagsman in Tony who can do everything, Not necessarily the off the ball or the interplay work that Jesus can do, because I feel like very few can do that. But Tony's very direct. You know, you can get it to him. He's going to make something happen. And I think he's always in and around the box, physical. He's going to bag a lot of goals. And especially when we go through a little bit of a goal drought, I feel like a bagsman like Tony would be huge. As well, you know, a lot of people say it, if Jesus isn't our starting striker, it does give back up to Saka. You know, he can play right wing very well. I think if his minutes are a little bit sort of constricted or he plays matches here and there, hopefully he can be a solid backup. Not saying he doesn't, you know, get starts here and there, sort of like City. You know, one game it might be Foden on that right wing, next game Doku or whoever. Alvarez might get a random game. Doesn't mean any of them aren't necessarily starters, just means that Guardiola picks and matches according to the other team, and everyone sort of gets minutes throughout a season. I think that would be really good because, you know, it allows whoever's in form to play, whoever's not, you know, take one step back, come back in when you sort of match fit. Bam. I think that would be a really solid option. If, you know, the dream scenario, if we could get two strikers, I would absolutely love if we were to get Marcos Leonardo from Santos. You know, only 20 years old, is looking a really exciting prospect. Similar to Jesus, where he can play striker and right wing. You know, not necessarily saying their play style's the same, but he is a very exciting prospect. The only thing is, I don't know if he's exactly ready right now to lead us to the title, and that's what this whole video is about. So if I had to choose, of course I'm going Tony, but I think he would be a really good shout if we can somehow get him on another deal. I don't expect us to spend that much money in January. Honestly, I don't even expect us to get Tony, but if we could, that would be an A+, 10 out of 10 window in terms of attackers. The only other issue, you know, yes, if we get Tony, it fixes our attack, but we still have this midfield dilemma. You know, we over relied on Declan Rice. Not sure about our left-sided centre mid. Yes, I say Zinchenko. Is Arteta actually going to do it? Unlikely, unlikely. So here are three really good options. All 6 months left on their contract, so you can get them for much cheaper than normal. Of course, Fofana is still probably going to cost the most out of the bunch. He's young, dynamic, athletic, you know, can play that centre mid position really well. But are Monaco really going to let go of him now? I think they're going to try and do everything they can to extend his contract. So I do think that's the most unlikely one, but I think these two are very gettable. You know, Rodriguez from Real Betis, proper CDM, think he's really good on the ball, just, you know, short passes, keeping things ticking, but defensively very solid, you know, just wins everything and cleans things up. Think, you know, if we have games against bigger teams, him at the 6, Rice at the 8 would be really tough to beat. And I think that'd be a really good shout. He's 29. I know Barcelona are in for him as well, but I think that would be a good option. Maybe also Zielinski, you know, he's again 29, sort of towards that latter stage in his career, but someone to play that 8. He's very good on the ball, he's a good technician, good at free kicks. I think he would be someone who's got experience, who can come in and we don't need to wait for him to catch up to everybody else. They're both going to be relatively cheap. Again, contract ends in 6 months. I don't expect us to do too many big moves in January. I've seen that Ruben Neves, but I feel like a 6-month loan isn't the best option. I think these guys are a bit more experienced at that higher level. You know, Zielinski constantly in the Champions League, Rodriguez in the World Cup as well. Think they would be really good options. But let me know, you know, who do you think we should maybe go for in that midfield? I was struggling of finding options. I was trying to scour the market, who was likely, and these were sort of the 3 best options I found. Let me know if you'd go for anyone else. I always love to hear what you guys have to say. As well, what do you think about our attacking options? Would you go for Tony in January? Or would you sort of wait for maybe an Osimhen, Ferguson, those sort of guys in the off-season at the end of the season? Let me know. Love talking football with you all. So just leave a comment. Let's chat. Let's chat. Thanks for all, you know, thanks as always, as always, for sticking around. If you made it this far into the video, smash that like. If you haven't subbed, go on ahead and subscribe. Go on ahead and subscribe, and I will see you in that next video. Peace.